morning, folks. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm back to being on camera because honestly, it's not that much more effort and it's a classy thing to do. Right? So here I am. You're looking at my face now. Congratulations. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's record this bad boy. Okay? Unless you want to listen to modern southern metal drum track, which is what I was playing to. 1 second. Someone's at the door. Okay, I'm back. Maintenance. Thank you for your patience. I'll just cut that out of the video. So let's talk about trend definition, shall we? Just as before we had the previous uptrend, which was here. It was nice and clean trend, right? As soon as we broke into the relative pivot of the longest overexpanded period, 1.25 standard deviation, we entered a state of compression, which implied we needed to go down to this mean. Once that mean reversion condition was completed, and once the relative longest overexpanded period read below a 0.7 value on the wave PM, we finished the condition, which allowed us to start new trend. Hey! Stop! Oh my god. Dobie! I'm just gonna close the door on him. Naughty boy. Okay. Anyway. We have new trend definitions, which is really nice. Because when you have trend definitions, then you can identify swing high and swing low of trend, which works really well for scalping. Right? So previously, our swing high of the trend was, in theory, this 3.2 standard deviation of the LOXP, and the swing low of the trend was just the 1.25 standard deviation. So, of course, we also have that same phenomenon happening here, where we have the 1.25 standard deviation, the LOXP, and its relative 3.2 standard deviation, defining trend. So price can go up to 10,800 and still be technically defined as downward trend. And that pivot is constantly going to get lower, whereas the 3.2 standard deviation, right, is going to get lower as well. So if you want to buy the swing lows in that 3.2 standard deviation, whenever it's tagged, you can at least expect short-term lateral trading. So I'm guessing we're just going to go sideways for the rest of the day. It's pretty reliable. Let's just look at previous examples just for the fun of it. Right? So you can expect trend to stall whenever we approach these pivots. And trust me, it's really hard for price to reach those pivots just because it's such an extreme value. That's the point. Right? Whenever you tag this outer extreme value, pretty reliably, trend is either going to stall or reverse. Now, the problem is, how do you trade that, right? Where we have the stall of trend, but you actually wouldn't have made any money. You would have stopped out here. So even if you have a super reliable signal like this, you have to use good risk management because it's trend and you're betting against trend. So while it is technically a true overbought signal, just be aware that it doesn't actually cancel trend out, right? So here, 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 and this time it totally burst through. But it does lead to short-term lateral trading. And let's find one more example. This year's fine, where we actually coast along the band. So you actually want some kind of bullish confirmation. And if you're waiting for bullish confirmation, well, why are you betting against trend at all? Right? You're much better just betting in the direction of trend by the tag of the 1.25 standard deviation. So, that's that. Really, just for the rest of the day, I expect nothing to happen. It's going to go sideways. All right. And from the previous examples, those flags only last around 12 hours to 24 hours. So, kind of expect a boring day. What you can do is define ranges on shorter time frames, which is probably how I'm going to be trading today. Right, we want to short the swing high of the range and long the swing low of the range, which we can probably identify on the 5-minute chart if the CLCP properly shows. Let's see what we got. Now we just need to wait for ACAT to load there. And while we're waiting for that load, I will check the YouTube comments. There are none. Excellent. I encourage you to ask me any questions you might have. Okay. So, this is actually really clean. Right, so this is what I was looking for. In each of these stalling flags of the 3.2 standard deviations on those higher time frames, we can actually do the following. When we know it's being tagged, and we can actually look at a side-by-side comparison, because why not? And make sure this is not syncing time. Perfect. We're going to have this chart on the 4-hour, or the 1-hour, excuse me. And my cursor is going to display accurately on each of these. And I don't think I've showed this before, so congratulations, you're learning something new today. So when we tag the 3.2 standard deviation, which ends up in the stalling of trend, if you actually get the CLCP bands forming like so, right, you can use those to define swing highs, swing lows. Particularly its actual 1.25 standard deviation, right? Since you're looking for a true state of compression, you don't want to use the outer edges, since outer edges imply trend during states of compression, during times of trend on higher time frames. So what we're looking at is these tags here and here and here, which result in these moves here. So when we actually get the CLCP forming and we get the compression range, which is identified by swing highs and swing lows, we can take really small scalp positions pretty successfully. And let's zoom really close in on these and temporarily full screen. Right, where we would want to short the top edges and long the bottom edges. So we would have shorted here, longed here, and longed here. This is the one that would have stopped out. And we had the same scenario here, where we short the swing highs, we long the swing lows, and then actual trend appears there. Okay. And now we're finally getting a new CLCP. I want to see how it develops. When we actually define the range, hopefully we'll be able to short the swing high and long the swing low. Right? And those should be pretty reliable positions for us. With that in mind, you don't want to bet against true trend like this. So on the 1-hour chart, even though we have this, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make any justification for this. This is a strong downward trend with increasing volume with a well-defined and respected range. So, right, yesterday we identified the beginning of trend. You can go ahead and check my YouTube channel or TradingView history for that, where we identified that as long as we are below this band, we should expect price to trend down. And because of that, well, alts have finally seen their dump. I was initially a little surprised that they didn't dump immediately, but they took their time, and now they've certainly dumped. So, except Doge, the juggernaut of the cryptocurrency industry. You should probably buy some Doge, people. Come on. There's no reason not to buy Doge. It's super cyclical. Just be aware that you might retrace down to 17 sats. And if we want to talk about that, well, that's a 40% drawdown, so be careful. You're betting on that, the fact that it's super cyclical, and it eventually will reverse. So just be aware of the risks, and if you want to take the risks, that'll work out pretty well. Okay? As far as the daily chart on Bitcoin, my God. There is quite the aesthetic going on here. Now, one thing I want to point out is that in the previous bull run, whenever we got these significant moves, after we entered the compressionary period, we saw significant, huge selling action before trend continuation, which happened repeatedly. So compression, selling off, up, compression, selling off, up. And I can't help but wonder if we're seeing that run up, compression, sell off, and then trend continuation, which would be a nuisance, but it's something you really need to keep an eye out for, okay? There is a lot of risk right now in the market. So if we actually trend down to 8,500, I would seriously recommend waiting there to buy. Then, also, there was something I remember looking at prior. I remember that for the previous bull run, we could use the 500 period on the daily chart to accurately define trend. It's 1.25 standard deviation, which worked really well. Wow, hold on. Ooh, okay. Yeah, glad I did this. Yeah, that 500 period catches trend really, 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 really well. Okay. There is no reason that should happen, though. I don't have a good explanation. It just did happen. And now it's happening again, and I'm a little wigged out by it. I'm wondering if I should place a buy order at 9,500. That'd be interesting. Actually, if we bounce from that 9,500 level, I might go back to considering that. Overall, though, I just think being in the market right now this very second has a lot of risk, since we still have the potential of another 20% drawdown. With that in mind, I don't want to bet on anything. It's just too much risk. Alter taking dump. I gotta... God damn it. You know, I actually had an alert go off yesterday, and I don't remember what it meant, so I didn't make a position. It was the F short signal for the quad CCI. So let's look at FBTC. It worked perfectly. Like, absolutely perfectly. So 14 period CCI roll down yesterday, caught the exact top. Right there. That was our short signal. All right, look at that. It's actually the candle before. So right there is where this... Oops. That was copy and paste, not the... There we go. Yeah, so that was actually our short signal. And I'm kind of sad I didn't take it or call it, because that was a 7% dump in a single candle. Let's look at what that looked like in the 5-minute chart, shall we? Yeah. So the question is, will we actually get lower lows here? There's not really any true CNE. Potential energy isn't that high. I would just quad CCI implies trend continuation, and that would have been ideal short entry. So bet on trend, but the signal's gone, so there's that. I want to check the YouTube comments again, see if there's any altcoins. There are no altcoins. Cool. Well, because of that, that's it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Is Bitcoin making a lower low right now? It's not. It's taking its time. Looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with it. That's it for today, folks. It's been a pleasure. Just don't take too many risks today, because it's risky. Ciao.